In the heart of Willow Hollow, a forgotten town nestled between mist-covered hills and dense forests, stood the imposing Rosewood estate. Once the grand home of the Rosewood family, it had been abandoned for decades. Its towering spires pierced the sky, and its weathered brick walls bore the scars of time. The mansion's dark silhouette loomed over the town, casting a long shadow of mystery and fear. The town of Willow Hollow had long been steeped in folklore and tales of the supernatural. Whispers of hauntings, ghostly apparitions, and tragic pasts had filled the streets for years. Among the many stories, none were as chilling as the tale of the Rosewood estate, a place where the veil between the living and the dead was said to be thin. Elena Harper was a paranormal investigator with a reputation for uncovering the truths hidden behind such tales. She had heard the stories of Willow Hollow and the haunting of the Rosewood estate from locals, tales of phantom footsteps echoing through empty halls, spectral figures peering through broken windows, and unexplainable whispers that sent shivers down the spine. Intrigued, she decided to investigate, determined to uncover the secrets that lay within the mansion's decaying walls. Her journey to Willow Hollow was long and arduous. The road that led to the estate twisted through the dense forest, and by the time she arrived, the sun was setting behind the hills. The Rosewood estate stood before her, shrouded in the deepening shadows of twilight. The iron gate creaked as she pushed it open, the sound reverberating eerily in the still air. Elena's breath misted in the cold evening air as she stepped onto the gravel path. Her flashlight flickered, casting shifting beams of light across the estate's crumbling facade. The windows were broken, and ivy crept along the brickwork like grasping hands. A palpable sense of unease settled over her as she approached the front door. The mansion's interior was a labyrinth of hallways and rooms, each step taken reverberating through the hollow space. Elena's flashlight flickered with every twist and turn, casting distorted shadows that danced on the peeling wallpaper and faded portraits lining the walls. The air was thick with dust and the faint scent of decay. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the hallway, clear and haunting. "Elena Harper." The voice was cold, yet familiar. Elena spun around, her breath caught in her throat. Before her stood a figure, a woman dressed in a flowing, tattered gown of white. Her hair was dark and disheveled, and her hollow eyes seemed to peer into the depths of Elena's soul. "Who are you?" Elena asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I am Isabella Rosewood," the ghost replied, her voice a mournful wail. "This house is not yours to walk alone." Elena steadied herself, trying to maintain her composure. "I mean no harm," she said gently. "I'm here to understand, to help." Isabella's spectral form moved slowly down the hallway, her feet barely brushing the floor. She gestured toward the grand staircase at the end of the corridor. "You must see what lies beyond," she urged. "There are others who still remain." With a deep breath, Elena followed Isabella deeper into the mansion. As they moved through the dimly lit corridors, the house seemed to whisper secrets from its past. Ghostly figures flickered in and out of sight, silent specters of the Rosewood family, trapped by their own tragedies. At the end of the hallway, Isabella led Elena to a grand, closed door. She paused there, her ethereal form trembling. "My husband," she said softly, her voice a fragile echo. "Edward Rosewood is waiting." Elena took a deep breath and opened the door. The room beyond was opulent once, though now it was a ruin of forgotten splendor. Faded curtains draped the shattered windows, and antique furniture lay overturned in the dim light. In the center of the room stood a tall, In the quiet town of Maplebrook, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lay Willow Hollow. Once a bustling village, it was now a shadow of its former self, the cobblestone streets overgrown with ivy and the grand mansions reduced to empty, eerie shells of their past grandeur. Among the oldest of these was the Rosewood estate, a mansion shrouded in mystery and whispers of the supernatural. The Rosewood estate stood tall at the edge of Willow Hollow, overlooking the town with its towering spires and weathered brick walls. Once home to the Rosewood family for generations, the mansion had been abandoned for decades after a tragic fire claimed the lives of its last residents. Ever since, it had become a place of local legend, a forbidden place that no one dared to enter. Elena Harper was an investigator of the supernatural. Her work took her to the most haunted places across the country, but none had piqued her curiosity quite like Willow Hollow. Drawn by tales of the Rosewood estate, she found herself standing at the gates of the decrepit mansion one autumn evening, her lantern flickering softly in the encroaching darkness. The gate groaned as she pushed it open, the sound echoing through the dead silence. Inside, the mansion was a labyrinth of dark hallways and creaking floorboards. Dust hung in the air, and the scent of decay lingered, overpowering even the cold breeze. Despite her usual composure, Elena couldn't help but feel a chill run down her spine as she stepped inside. "Elena Harper," a voice rasped from the shadows. She turned swiftly, her flashlight illuminating the figure standing before her, a woman dressed in flowing white, her eyes hollow and lips pressed in a silent scream. "Who are you?" Elena whispered, her voice trembling. The ghost raised a pale hand and pointed down the corridor. "You must leave this place." Elena followed the spectral figure deeper into the mansion. As they moved through the halls, the mansion seemed to whisper secrets into her ear, echoes of laughter, the rustle of silks, the distant clinking of glasses. Yet, there were moments when the sounds stopped, replaced by an oppressive silence. At the end of the corridor, the ghost paused in front of a grand door, its brass handle tarnished with age. She turned to Elena, her face contorted in pain. "My family, they're here," she said softly. With trembling hands, Elena pushed the door open. Inside was a grand ballroom, bathed in soft moonlight that seeped through the shattered windows. The once opulent room was now a sea of dust and cobwebs. Mirrors hung askew on the walls, their cracked surfaces reflecting faint glimpses of forgotten dances and whispered conversations. As Elena moved deeper into the room, a figure materialized before her, a man in a finely tailored suit, his face pale and gaunt. His eyes were cold and empty, yet filled with a sorrow that seemed to stretch through the centuries. "You seek answers," the man said, his voice a hollow echo. "But this place holds only the past. I need to know what happened here," Elena pleaded. "Why does your family still haunt this mansion?" The man sighed, and the haunting memories poured forth. Edward Rosewood, the last heir to the Rosewood fortune, had been driven mad by grief after the death of his wife, Isabella, and their daughter, Evelyn, in the fire that consumed their home. Consumed by sorrow, Edward's soul became trapped, unable to move on. And so, he lingered, forever bound to the estate alongside the spirits of his wife and child. Elena listened intently, her heart aching for the restless souls. She promised them peace, a resolution that had eluded them for decades. Through old letters and faded photographs, she pieced together the tragedy, the secrets that had been hidden beneath the mansion's grand facade. On her final night in the mansion, Elena gathered the ghosts in the ballroom. "Edward, Isabella,"